1.5 months after release in Undecember, there's still a lot of things to do. But Path of Exile, another great action RPG, is gonna announce their new expansion today. And that's a good opportunity for a lot of people that have never played it to try it out. If you're a big fan of Undecember like me, then Path of Exile is another great game for you. That will be very interesting since the similarities are plentiful. Yeah, we can see here I've played more than 3,000 hours in the 10 years I've been playing Path of Exile. And Undecember has been very, very great so far. And don't worry, I will keep playing it. But we're also gonna look at Path of Exile, especially to introduce all of you who've never played it. By far one of the closest games in terms of gameplay to Undecember right now. It is free to play on Steam, you can only play it on PC though. There's also a standalone version for those people who don't like Steam or just want to play it without it. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about it, since today actually they will reveal the new expansion for Path of Exile. So I think that's quite interesting for a lot of people. Yeah, the difference in Path of Exile is there's a new season every 3 months, approximately. And that means the game gets reset back to 0. So everybody starts at level 1 again. Everybody's making a new character, and the gameplay is designed around that. So most of the things in the game can be achieved in like one or 2 months. If you are playing a little bit more casual, then it takes you 2 or 2.5 months to achieve level 100 character with like really strong gear, this kind of stuff. So unlike Undecember, where you get content patch after content patch after content patch, and there will be only one character that you main, and you keep going with this one character. Like, the sad thing about that is you will just invest into one build all of the time. And with these leaks coming out and the game being designed around a 3-month cycle, it actually becomes possible to make a lot of different builds every time you start a new character, so you can already plan ahead, like next season I'm gonna play this build. And often people even play more than one character per season, since all of the items and everything is shared across the account. So yeah, it's actually not too hard to make multiple characters. PoE actually has classes other than Undecember. They are not classes like in Diablo though. The only thing that's different is they have different passive talents available to them. 8 unique talents per class, and on top of that they start on a different slot in the talent tree. So as you can see here, there's the different talents or the unique talents for my class here. And other than that, I have all of these talents available. And all of these talents are available for any class that I play. The difference is I spawn in a different starting slot for the talent tree. For example, the archer guy spawns here, and the witch would be spawning up here. And then there's like different classes that spawn all around the tree, even in the middle here. And depending on that, you can make different builds in different ways. For example, you can play a fireball build as a witch over here, or you could play that with a Templar over here and make them work in different ways. So the talent system in Path of Exile actually has even way more complex and way crazier specialization available for your character design. So if you want a game that has a lot of game depth and has a crazy amount of different builds available to it, then Path of Exile is definitely a must-try for you. The way abilities work is very, very, very similar to how it works in Undecember. The only difference is all of the abilities are socketed into your items. So you will be having your main skill here. Let's see, where is it? For example, Ice Shot is my main skill. That's my active rune from Undecember. And on Undecember, the champ has 6 links. In this game, champs don't have links. The item you socket them into has the sockets and the links on it. As you can see, all of these 6 sockets here are linked to each other. So that means all of these support champs, that's how they are called in this game, are like, these are the link runes in Undecember, are linked to the item. And for example, here, full damage support, chain support, as you can see, it's basically the same as in Undecember. I think Undecember copied the system pretty much from Path of Exile. The good thing about the Undecember system is you're not so gear dependent. in this game, if you want to switch, for example, your body armor, then you need to find another one or craft another one with the same links on it before you can switch. So you need better stats and better links. Can get a little bit annoying, but once you get used to it, and since the game is designed around it, it is definitely possible, not too expensive. And as we said earlier, the game is developed for a 3-month cycle, so it's not as crazy hard to get these 6 links going. Usually people have them after 2, 3, 4 days of playing. And since Path of Exile has been out for many, many years now, I think it's about 10 years, 11, 12 years, it has a crazy amount of abilities. All of these here are active skill runes. These here too, and all of these as well. And then there's crazy amount of support gems. Basically everything that you can come up with exists already, and you can link them in like infinite different ways and make your build as unique as it can get. And yeah, it's crazy. So for crafting, the system is actually very similar to the basics of Undecember. You have your white, blue and yellow items that you can mess around with. And once you hit like a good one, like +1, 2 spells, and you make it yellow, and then you add even more stats to it and stuff like that. So very similar in terms of the basics. But on top of that, on top of the Undecember version of crafting, you get like crazy amounts of different crafting materials that can be used for making insanely strong items. And yeah, there's videos about crafting one single item that go 20 minutes long. If you're into that stuff, you can definitely craft crazy amount of items. But there's also free trade. Any item can be freely traded. If you buy it, you can resell it. If you craft it, you can sell it. So there's a big website that you can use, or you use some type of overlay for finding like different stuff on the auction house. And then yeah, you can buy different items from other players. That actually makes it possible for you to play the game. If you love crafting, you can make a lot of money, you can make a lot of good items. If you hate crafting, you don't have to engage with it at all. Usually the player base is big enough so that you can buy very, very powerful items, and there's also a big demand for crafting materials, so you will be just selling all of your crafting mats and then buying items from the money you make. In terms of campaign, the game is basically the exact same as Undecember. There's different zones that you have to go through, some quests that you have to do, and there's 10 different acts. And then later, after you've beaten them, you go to the epilogue, where you enter the end game, like the final town, and you start the end game. So the end game in Path of Exile is very similar actually to how the end game in Undecember works. There's also a lot of hard boss fights. You want to progress your character to level 100. You want to find really strong items or craft them. And yeah, mostly you're chasing to be insanely strong. And for the actually things that you do, it's running maps, which is basically like chaos cards for the most part. The big difference is there's actually a passive skill tree where you can modify your maps and go like crazy in depth, what things to drop, what things to spawn. And do you want to run only to the boss and kill the boss? Do you want to clear the whole map? Do you make the map insanely hard but boost the rewards like crazy? All of these things are actually possible. But there's also other systems, like an infinite dungeon that you can enter that is procedurally generated, and many, many, many more systems. Remember, this game has been out for 10 years, so there's a lot of content to it. But don't be afraid, it's not really overwhelming. Everything can be done within 3 months, and once you get started, it's going to be a lot to learn, a lot to investigate. But once you get used to that and start finding out more and more and finding the things that you like to run, finding the things that you don't want to do, you can really do the content that you like and play the game in the way that you really can enjoy it. And that's what's great about it. It doesn't get stale, it doesn't get boring. There's multiple different systems that you can engage with. If you want to run bosses only, you can run infinite amount of boss fights, really hard boss fights, and get a lot of money that way. If you enjoy doing maps, you can do maps. There's even different hardcore modes, like hardcore, where you have permadeath. There is ruthless, where you get way less loot there and don't have any movement skills, stuff like that, for crazy hardcore players that like really want the challenge. Then there's solo cell phone where you cannot trade with other people, this kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a lot, like many hundreds of hours in this game for you to investigate. So last year we are gonna talk about the monetization. It is actually a little bit similar to Undecember. The main big difference, which makes it even better for me, is you cannot buy any items, you cannot buy any crafting mats, you cannot buy anything that gives you an advantage over other people, except for stash tabs, which is the only thing that you basically need to buy once you start playing a lot. Like all of these little stash tabs here, you get a bunch of these basic ones for free, but once you go deep into the game, you have to spend at least like $30–40 to buy some stash tabs here. Sometimes they are on sale, so you can get them a little bit cheaper, but I think $40 is what you expect to pay for the game to play it properly. And if you play it hardcore, like hundreds and hundreds of hours, you will probably start buying a bunch of these. So yeah, other than that, you can enjoy the game completely for free. So my recommendation is actually to test it out, play through the campaign. If you like it, then like the game gets way better after the campaign. A lot of people, they don't like playing the campaign in Path of Exile. It is hard, it is a little bit tedious sometimes, but actually the game gets so freaking fun once you hit the end game. So yeah, once you battle through that and start playing the end game and you like it, then that's where you decide, okay, I like the game, I will pay some money for the stash tabs. Before that, you don't really need that. Sure, it gives some quality of life, but the first 20 hours you don't really need them. Even the first 50 hours if you are still playing on your own and figuring stuff out. So yeah, that's my recommendation for that. So yeah, next week it's definitely my plan to test the new expansion for Path of Exile. So we will do a few videos on Path of Exile and see how it goes. We will still do Undecember videos, so don't be afraid. Every week. So yeah, that's the plan for me right now. I still like Undecember, don't worry. I will still play it. But on top of that, I will also play some Path of Exile, see how it goes. I've played this game a lot in the past, so depending on how the league progresses, I will make a bunch of videos on it or not. So yeah, we will see how it goes. And if you're really looking for a new game, I hope you try Path of Exile.